For the first time in humanity's history, all people are able to communicate with their loved ones living in the life after this life. You can communicate. You just have to learn which methods work for you. In this video, I explain 29 methods now being used successfully by ordinary people to have afterlife communications with their loved ones now living in the afterlife. Hello, I'm Dr. R. Craig Hogan, President of the Afterlife Research and Education Institute and Seek Reality Online. I'm the author of 8 books with the evidence you will come to the end of this life, but you will never die. Today we know more about the afterlife and afterlife communication than humanity has ever known. Seek Reality Online has published descriptions of 29 methods of afterlife communication. In this video, I list the 29 methods. There are too many to explain them in detail in this video. In the links in the description below, you can go to the web pages that have detailed descriptions of each of these methods. The first method is automatic writing. In automatic writing, a talented medium goes into trance, and an entity from the afterlife takes over the medium's body and writes messages from individuals in the afterlife. The second method is inspired writing. In inspired writing, you relax yourself into being open to communication. The communications will come to you, and you will write them as quickly as they come. The first response that comes to your mind is their response. The Monroe Institute, founded by Robert Monroe, learned that specific sound patterns could safely and gently guide the mind into various states, ranging from deep relaxation to sleep or expanded mindfulness or extraordinary states. They have developed training that allows the experiencer to go into the afterlife. Family members and hospital personnel commonly report that a dying person stares at a corner of the room and points or calls the name of a deceased loved one. It often happens when the person was previously weak or even comatose. The visions result in a change of attitude about the death of the body. In direct voice, a medium sits in a room and people from the afterlife speak through an ectoplasmic voice box made of ectoplasm from the medium's body. The conversations are recorded. Today we have thousands of the recordings of people talking with their loved ones living in the afterlife, just as casually as if they had been talking to someone sitting with them at a breakfast table. People commonly have experiences of visitations by loved ones when they're in a dream state. The phenomena are called dream visitations. Loved ones in the afterlife are available to communicate, particularly in the weeks and months after their passing. You can communicate with them by first speaking as you would if they were sitting with you before their transition. Psychotherapists today have developed protocols that help their clients have afterlife communications with their deceased loved ones at will during their psychotherapy sessions. In 1995, Alan Botkin developed a protocol for intentionally engendering these connections that he called Induced After-Death Communication, or IADC. The most convincing evidence that we live on after our bodies die is in recordings of people living in the life after this life that are verified as the person by people on this side of life. We have the recordings, thousands of them. Loving Heart Connections, developed by state-licensed psychotherapist Dr. Jane Bisler, is a self-healing system designed to enable you to communicate with your loved ones in spirit and your spirit guides. She teaches the method over Zoom. People from the afterlife materialize in the room with materialization mediums and speak to their loved ones sitting in the room. The sitters verify that the people materializing are the individuals they knew when they were in bodies on the earth plane. You can have afterlife communication through meditation. When you meditate, you relax your conscious mind. When you're relaxed, the afterlife communications can come up from your subconscious into your conscious mind. Mental mediums are very successful at conveying messages from people in the afterlife to their loved ones sitting with the medium. The readings can also be done over the phone. Dr. Raymond Moody devised a procedure to guide participants into an altered state of consciousness and help them to connect with loved ones in the afterlife as they look at a mirror in a darkened room. Anyone can set up a mirror in their home to have afterlife communications. When people in life-threatening events come back from the brink of death, 18% to 23% share remarkable accounts of feeling of calm, of peace, moving upwards towards a tunnel, meeting deceased loved ones, encountering a being of light, experiencing a life review, feeling unconditionally loved, being given a choice to stay or return, and feeling a return into the body, often very reluctantly. They have had a near-death experience, or NDE. People are using a pendulum to communicate with loved ones in spirit. One of the most prominent examples is Carol Morgan, whose son Mikey transitioned to the next life in 2007. People describe picking up the phone to be surprised to hear the voice of someone in the afterlife. In one example, Dr. Konstantin Raudova, a Latvian writer, communicated by phone to 5 people long after his body had died. A variety of art and written or typed messages have come in sessions with people who have medium abilities. In one example, a crowd of several hundred people watched the portrait of a girl in spirit appear on a canvas in front of them over 20 minutes with no one touching the canvas. A Washington state licensed psychotherapist named Rochelle Wright developed the repair and reattachment grief therapy procedure that enables patients to have afterlife communications with their loved ones in the afterlife. It is 98% successful. Some people become stuck on the earth plane after they leave their bodies. There are rescuers and retrievers who go into the astral plane and help them move on. Seek Reality Online has developed a free online training program that will teach you how to have afterlife communications with your loved ones in the afterlife without a medium. It is 85% successful. We have many accounts of people having an afterlife communication experience that another person shares at the same time, as though the 2 people were watching a movie together. It is called a shared death experience. People commonly have spontaneous afterlife communications with loved ones in the afterlife. In one study, as many as 70% of widows and widowers have afterlife communications with their departed spouses. There are many accounts of people in the afterlife materializing in full body and speaking at length with people who knew them or loved ones. Luminaries such as Dr. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, J.B. Phillips, who translated the New Testament into English, and Dr. Raymond Moody have experienced dead people materializing before them. People commonly describe receiving signs from their loved one in the afterlife. Bill and Judy Guggenheim wrote Hello from Heaven with numerous accounts. People gathering to experience physical manifestations of people in spirit often experience things such as tables moving and bouncing, called table tipping. Afterlife communications come when people with unique abilities go into trance, and people from the afterlife speak using their vocal mechanism. It is called trance mediumship. Seek Reality Online has produced a video explaining what you can expect in your afterlife communications. The link is in the description below. All of these methods are available and people are using them successfully. You can use any of these methods. We have links to the detailed explanations of these methods in the description below. Please go to them and look through them. If you have any questions, send us an email.